Hey guys, what is cracking? It's Krakenation here. We have not made a video in a hot sec, but I am really excited to bring you guys the first new Pokemon that have been announced in the Crown Tundra. Guys, we're going to be taking a look at some competitive analysis for all the new Pokemon. That includes, as you can see behind me, the legendary birds, but that also is going to include the Reggies and the Calyrex and those horses. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to be pumping out some videos over the next few days. Get amped. We're going to be taking a look at what you can do to use these Pokemon to their most competitive viability possible, how you can try to make them part of your competitive team, what you can do to maximize their potential in their respective role, and really start to get an understanding and a feel for what it takes to use these Pokemon in a competitive setting. So guys, we're going to start kicking off this series with ZAPDOS-GALAR. So ZAPDOS-GALAR is now a fighting flying type. Gone are the days of the electric flying Zapdos. That is a thing of the past. Now Zapdos is a fighting type. And I gotta say, I was the most excited to make this video because this is the one I'm going to make first. I was really excited. ZAPDOS-GALAR is the, I think, most competitively dominant Pokemon released in the Crown Tundra. That isn't like Uber's crazy Calyrex riding a horse kind of type thing, but this Pokemon looks to be really fun to use, simple to use. I think a lot of players who are maybe even a little newer to competitive Pokemon could really quickly get an understanding of how to use ZAPDOS-GALAR. So I think it's important that we get this video out to you guys so you guys can learn how to make this a part of your team. It's got that fighting flying type, which I just gotta say is a dominant offensive typing. You're gonna have a lot of success with that, and it's got the ability to Defiant. For those of you guys who don't know, Defiant makes it so that every time one of your stats drops, your attack receives a +2 boost. The most notable use of this ability in competitive Pokemon is to deter Pokemon from using Defog, because Defog lowers your evasion. So if you know your opponent's Pokemon is going to be clicking Defog, you switch your Galarian Zapdos in, and it's going to get a +2 attack boost, which, guys, is going to be insane taking a look at these stats. 125 attack is a very, very, very rock solid attack stat. But the thing is, to boot, guys, none of these stats are bad, and that's the crazy thing. Even 85 special attack, its lowest stat, is usable. But we got 90 and 90 in your HP, defense, and special defense. So you've got very, very solid mixed bulk, just really reliable bulk. Honestly, coupled with a pretty good defensive typing. Not amazing, but pretty usable. So you've got the bulk and some resistances to take some hits. 100 speed is excellent. You're going to have to outspeed a lot of the most recent metagame. It's going to put you in a really good spot, especially because this thing has ways to boost its speed, things like Choice Scarf and Agility. We're going to talk about all that in a sec. But overall, I think when we look at the Defiant ability and what makes this really effective is it could be a really good defog deterrent. You put this on a team that maybe has a spike stacker or toxic spikes or sticky webs or something like that. Your opponent's team may not be able to click that Pokemon with defog because you've got a Galarian Zapdos in the back ready to do some damage, and they're going to be really scared to click that, which means more turns of them just having to take that spikes, that stealth rock damage. So that's going to be where the ability comes really handy. If you can get a +2 boost on that attack stat, you're going to be really hard to switch into, guys. I got to tell you. All right, let's move on to some notable moves on this Pokemon. I think first up, the move we got to talk about is the one I put very last on this list, and that is Thunderous Kick. That is this Pokemon's signature move. It's a 90 base power fighting move that lowers your opponent's defense by 1, which means a lot of Pokemon that even resist don't resist for very long because you're going to be lowering those attack stats. Thunderous Kick is an absolutely insane stab move, guys. You're going to be absolutely dominating. It is now your go-to stab fighting move. Blaze Kick's a good covered move. Between Brave Bird and Thunderous Kick, you achieve fantastic neutral stab coverage. Absolutely phenomenal. You also got things like Close Combat if you really wanted, if you didn't like Thunderous Kick for whatever inconceivable reason. You've got Drill Peck if you don't want that recoil. You've got things like Hurricane for special coverage. Blaze Kick could be good to hit steel types that aren't weak to fighting, like Aegis Slash is, I think, the most notable example. Also, in a similar vein, Throat Chop could be very helpful. Stomping Tantrum for a ground move does exist, although I gotta say it's not great, but it could be cool if you were running something like a Thunderous Kick. Your opponent switches in a Aegis Slash, you fail, right? And I'm pretty sure how that mechanic works. Stomping Tantrum the turn after would hit for 150 base power. So that could be a really cool gimmick you could run to beat up on opposing Aegis Slashes. Could be really, really good with this thing. And also notice we got agility and bulk up, so it's got some setup options, guys. So you've got a lot of different directions you can take this Pokemon. Let's take a look at the first one that I think is probably going to be the most viable set for Galarian Zapdos in the metagame, and that is the Scarf Pivot set, because it's got that very viable speed stat coupled with a really, really dominant attack stat. You're gonna be able to run Choice Scarf, invest into attack, run a Jolly Nature, and just be able to hit like a truck. What's kind of really crazy about this set, guys, is you can run Thunderous Kick and honestly have some late game cleaning and sweeping potential. Thunderous Kick helps Zapdos just break down its checks. its counters. bulky psychic types are probably this thing's best answer, but they can't switch into Thunder's Kick forever because Thunder's Kick's going to start lowering that defense stat, and all of a sudden they're not going to be able to take those hits. Not to mention the fact that if your opponent is switching in a bulky psychic, you've got U-turn to hit that thing pretty hard and get out of there. So it's honestly, bulky psychics are this thing's probably best overall answer, but they're not great. They're just not that good because you're going to have options. Obviously, psychic types are good. Ghost types also want to be careful when you're clicking that, but it's got coverage moves in things like Throat Chop to hit those ghost types if you really were afraid of that. We're going to run Choice Scarf because as this set kind of obviously lends itself to just being fast, clicking attacks, hitting hard. That's kind of the name of the game with ZAPDOS-GALAR in general. So I think this will be your most splashable set for competitive Pokemon. I think you'll have the most success with this set as far as broad sense. But yeah, I think this is probably the best way. If you're newer to competitive Pokemon, you don't want to get something too niche, this is going to be a really splashable set that you can include on almost any team. It's got pivot action, it's got offensive capability, it's got some wall breaking in it, it's got some sweeping in it. I think you're going to have a lot of success with this set, guys. Taking a look at a little bit more of a niche set, though, we've got the Agility Sweeper Light Orb set here that I put together. This is a kind of cool set here. Takes advantage of the fact that you've got that Thunder's Kick to sweep through things, and you got a pretty good amount of natural bulk to set up an agility. Also, the fact that because of how good your stab combinations are, you're going to be able to scare out a lot of things. Now, Life Orb plus Brave Bird is risky, so I may say if you're thinking you're going to click Brave Bird a lot, you may want to switch to an item like a Muscle Band, maybe a Heavy Duty Boots, for example. Leftovers could be an option, but I think Life Orb plus Thunder's Kick is just going to provide you so much power and utility. You're going to really want to take advantage of that. Adamant Nature, because we're going to be boosting our already solid speed stat with +2 from agility. So we're going to run an Adamant Nature to maximize our offensive prowess, and this set allows Galarian Zapdos to really hit like a truck and also be incredibly fast and sweep the metagame while doing it. In my last spot here, I'm running Blaze Kick to hit Aegislash, which is a very common Pokemon that you may find on a lot of opposing competitive teams. That was the logic there. Now, keeping in mind that you may need to run something like Throat Chop is an option. Like I said, Stomping Tantrum could be very cool, very cool. So I really want you guys to consider these things as you're building around Zapdos. This might be a set that is worth trying if you're kind of into running some spicy stuff. Taking a look at some pros and cons, kind of just summing up everything we just went over with Galarian Zapdos. It's got really good natural bulk and defensive typing that lends itself to taking a hit if it needs to, and just allows it to have some sustainability to achieve its role through the game. And its role is to have pivot access and great powerful stab combinations and powerful moves. Thunder's Kick is absolutely insane. This is a great move that you're going to always be able to run. Obviously, you fear ghost types, but it's got the coverage that a hit needs. That said, its coverage options beyond things like Throat Chop and Blaze Kick aren't terrific, but the thing is, that's kind of a moot point because its stabs are so good and it kind of has what it needs. So take that with a grain of salt. Notably, it is a bird without recovery or defog, so it doesn't get roost, it doesn't get defog. That's kind of sad. So you guys are gonna have a tough time with that. But I think if you're clicking defog with Galarian Zapdos, you're using it wrong. So it's fine that it doesn't get that. Recovery kind of stinks. It could have been a really cool roost bulk up set. Could have been very, very cool on this thing, which is kind of a bummer. And by virtue of the fact that it doesn't get recovery, it leaves itself a little vulnerable to chip damage, and as you guys can probably expect, which is kind of a bummer, but it's going to be something that you're going to have to keep in mind. Being vulnerable to chip damage may make you weak to opposing faster Scarfers. Things like Scarf Dragapult, Scarf Latios could be a problem for you. Furthermore, just powerful priority users like Shadow Sneaking, Aegislash, things of that nature could be problematic. But I think overall, this Pokemon is terrific. I'm expecting if you are a Smogon user, this is probably going to be an OU caliber Pokemon in my opinion. This thing looks absolutely phenomenal and splashable on a wide variety of teams. Let's take a look. Speaking of teams, let's take a look at what you can do to try to build around it. I think what's really cool about Zapdos is it's so splashable because its role is just so useful and it can do different things at the same time. I think tanky partners that it can use to U-turn out of. So let's say your opponent brings in a Psychic type or a Fairy type that you're going to struggle to break. Something that can switch into a Fairy type attack, maybe a bulky Steel, could be very, very useful for you to take on those Psychics and those Fairies. So I think something like a Ferrothorn could be a really good option. Maybe a Copperajah could be another good option. Just things that can reliably take a hit, come in on the things that Zapdos has a tough time with. But what's kind of interesting here is that Zapdos can double as a cleaner or a sweeper. So cleaners that appreciate a wall breaker like Zapdos, or wall breakers that appreciate a cleaner like that agility set Zapdos, can both really appreciate. So this thing can become a really, really potent part of a really effective offensive core. So I really think you guys should take a look at that when you're building with this thing. Furthermore, some biggest threats, some things you got to look out for. I think bulky Psychics, also bulky Fairies, I kind of didn't mention, are pretty good answers. That said, they're not terrific because you can click Brave Bird on those. You can click U-turn on the Psychics of the world. So you got to be careful about that. So I think the biggest threat to ZAPDOS-GALAR, in a nutshell, is probably going to be faster revenge killers like I was talking about. It is a little vulnerable to taking damage throughout the match. It has decent bulk, but no reliable forms of recovery. So you're going to need to be really careful about getting revenge killed by things like powerful priority moves, or maybe a faster Scarfer, or just a faster Pokemon in general. But guys, that is Galarian Zapdos. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are excited to check out the rest of what the Crown Tundra has to offer in terms of competitive Pokemon. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about ZAPDOS-GALAR. If there's a set that you guys are trying that isn't, maybe that I didn't go over, there's definitely some more sets out there. I thought about a bulk up set, maybe a banded set could be really cool. Just an offensive set's awesome always. Even just heavy duty boots, 3 attacks and U-turn is really great. Let me know what sets you guys have been trying that you've found success with Galarian Zapdos. And let me know if you guys want to see, or what mon you want to see, I should say, in the next video. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Krakenation out.